Hey, so you ever had those times when you feel like you're lost and you just don't know what to do, and you feel like you have no focus, that, life is just taking you for a ride and you are just in the back seat hoping that it steers in the right direction, right? Now, there was a time in my life where I felt just like this, right? And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know, there were just so many negative thoughts flooding through my mind, right? And all I could think about was, what if this happens? What if that happens? And I wasn't actually thinking of anything positive at all. And I would forecast my future, right? Like, where exactly am I going? Am I going to live in a truck factory for the rest of my life and work here till I die? And is this going to be it? We always dream about stuff, right? We always think about the future, but can you visualize it, right? Can you visualize a future, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now, right? Where would you be at if you were on the track that you were on? Now, just imagine if you change that view up, right? Forget about the past, forget about what's currently in your life, right? What if you actually visualize the future that you wanted, right? And I know this does seem crazy, but it works, right? And I've always noticed that through my life, I've done this periodically, right, throughout my life, to where, I started a truck factory, and that's not where I wanted to go, right? I visualized my life being something more, right? I always kept imagining myself going in the military, right? I always kept seeing what it would be like, where I would go in the world, what I would be doing, and I kept visualizing these things. And, it took time, but, after a couple months of thinking about it, it started becoming reality, right? I ended up actually joining the military, right? And then after that, after I did the military, I came to another point in my life where I was like, well, I should start going to school. I felt like that was something I should do, and I started, visualizing what school would do for me in the future, and where I'd become. I'd, be able to go back to school and become a computer programmer. And so I started visualizing it, right? I was like, what would it be like? Because as a young kid, in my teens, I used to always think about being a programmer, and I didn't think that road would actually happen. And then I started visualizing it, right? I started visualizing my end goal, and I kind of started working backwards. Well, how would I get there, right? Because right now I'm in the military. Right now, that is kind of far-fetched because I'm telecommunications specialist, right? I'm not anything to do with programming whatsoever. And so I started, re-engineering it and figuring out how I could get to that goal. And then, every day I would start just visualizing, I want to be a programmer, right? And I started going to college, and I started taking college courses, and, it fell off for a couple times, right? But then it's because I quit visualizing it, right? You got to be consistent in the visualization. And I wasn't consistent for a couple of years, and then there was a time when I was actually consistent, right? I got to consistent. I was like, I'm getting to that age where I need to concentrate on this and start visualizing it more. And so that's all I would do is I started working through college, and I got through it, and it was hard, I had to continue find that motivation. And I got to that point, right? I got to that point to where I actually became a software developer, right? And all throughout my life, it's just different things, I dreamed about having a big house, right? And I visualized it. I visualized what it would look like, and I got that big house, right? And I visualize stuff all the time about what I want life to be like, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And I've noticed, again, in my past, every time I've done that, when I visualize it, it actually, becomes reality. And I've started believing in it more as I've gotten older, because I've seen the results, right, of what it does. And I realize that if you're actually concentrated on that, if you're actually doing it every day, right, if you can visualize these things in detail, the more detail you get about it, the more crisp that dream is, that goal is that you have. And then, you just, again, re-engineer it, and you start working towards that, and you realize that they become reality, right? And it's not to say that you can just dream it up and it's just gonna happen, no, but it definitely guides you, right? Because right now you're just drifting. And to get to where you wanna go, to be whatever it is that you wanna be, right? You have to visualize that all in your head. That was like even when I was bodybuilding, right? Because I always wanted to be this bodybuilder, and many times I would just get out of shape and I could never stay in shape, and it didn't matter what diet I had, I felt like there was no way I could get a six-pack, right? There was no way. And it wasn't until I started visualizing, right? And that was a big thing about when you do go into bodybuilding, that they want you to do that, right? That was one of the biggest things, is to visualize yourself getting big, right? To visualize yourself big, because at the time I was not big. I was scrawny, to say the least. And you know, you just visualize it and you keep visualizing it, and it motivates you and it keeps you going. And then every day, you know, you either do it morning or night, but you have to at least do it once a day. You know, you can even do both, morning and night, and just continue to visualize it, right? Continue to get as detailed as you can, trying to involve as many senses as you can, because the more senses you involve, you know, the more you can trick your brain into believing that that is reality until it becomes reality. And this is a powerful tool that a lot of people, you know, they think that it doesn't exist, right? That this doesn't work. And I'm telling you, every time I've done this, it has worked multiple times in my life. And there are times that in my younger years where I would forget about it, right? And I wouldn't do it, and then I would just let life drift, and it would drift me in the complete opposite way that I wanted to drift. It wasn't until I started visualizing my goal, right, where I wanted to be. And when I started visualizing it, then it started becoming reality. Then I was actually taking the steps I needed to take to get there, right? And so just remember to start visualizing, right? There are many techniques out there to start doing this. And the biggest things is just to do it once, twice a day if you can. And, you know, keep it as detailed as possible. Involve as many senses as possible. You know, if you're bodybuilding, how would you feel? You know, how would you look? You know, I mean, just imagine, right? Just imagine every little detail. Get as detailed as you can, just about everything, and it completely works. So if you guys like this video, please smash that like button. And until next time, I will see you guys later.